Hello, friends from ICPEL. This is Beverly Irby, and I will be presenting our session today. It's titled, Understanding the Roles of Instructional Leaders in Promoting Teachers' Awareness of English Learners' Academic Needs. The presenters or the researchers with whom I've worked on this project they are Hamada El-Faraji, Elizabeth Puglisi, myself, Rafael Lara Alessio, and Fuwei Tong. So I'll give you a little background about the context of our study. We have participants in this particular part of the study who were 88 Texas educators, and they completed a virtual professional development. We call it VPD. Some people call it online professional development, but we call ours VPD. They completed a VPD unit on leadership for English learners, and it's promoting support for English learners. So they were classified as being 12 people who were in leadership positions, 4 administrators, 6 ESL interventionists or coaches, and 2 program coordinators. And then the remaining were 76 classroom teachers. Now, we always say that our teachers who participate with us in the VPD are also teacher leaders. So we consider them as teacher leaders because we are hoping that they will become leaders on their campus if they already aren't. So the VPD was intended to advance participants' instructional leadership capacity in supporting ELs in their schools. And this VPD was offered by Project Massive Open Online Professional Individualized Learning, or Project MOOPL. We call those short-term virtual professional developments MOOPLs, not MOOCs, because MOOCs are longer term and more involved as a course. These are just-in-time, individualized, personalized learnings. So that's why we call it Project MOOPL. Project MOOPL began in the fall of 2017, and it was designed to advance the knowledge and capacity of Texas teachers and school leaders in understanding and meeting the needs of English learners. It is a U.S. Department of Education Office of English Language Acquisition grant, and it's managed by our Education Leadership Research Center in the College of Education and Human Development at Texas A&M University. And in the 3 years that it's been operating, we have had over 1,000 Texas educators involved, and they've accessed the VPD, and they've completed at least one of the 90 modules that have been designed and delivered virtually as a MOOPL. So let's just look at just a little bit of the supporting literature. So we know that it's critical to have EL's needs addressed and supported by leaders and teachers or teacher leaders on the campus in order for them to advance. And furthering the notion of support for ELs, ELFers Instructus examined support systems established by school and district leaders for teachers of ELs. And they found that there was a need to focus on high quality instruction, create collaborative district school leadership initiatives, and communicate effectively about the programs, and also to use data for instructional improvement. So let's see what we find in our study, if this is related to what they found. So the purpose of the study was to investigate the perceptions of these participating educators, and they came from across the state of Texas in small and large school districts. And we investigated this related to how instructional leaders can contribute to advancing teachers' awareness of EL needs. And remember, I indicated that we consider our teachers as instructional leaders so they can also influence or advance teachers' awareness of EL needs. And then what effective instructional practices teachers incorporate for their ELs in the classroom, and what the similarities and differences are between the perceptions of the stated leaders and the teachers in our study related to how ELs can be supported in their learning. So the findings of the study are significant for furthering a deeper understanding of what instructional practices school leaders and teachers utilize to enhance teacher awareness of EL needs. And additionally, the findings provide information on practices teachers and leaders identify as effective for ELs. So this information can assist policymakers and district leaders, particularly, as I mentioned, in Texas, in designing professional development programs for teachers and leadership teams that can advance their capacities in serving English learners. So we used qualitative methods via an instrumental collective case study design, and our participants in the collective case study, again, were the Texas educators, 88 of them, 12 in a specific leadership position, 76 in the teacher classrooms. So to keep the confidentiality of the 88 participants, we simply use pseudonyms, and so we'll just call them Leader 1 or Leader 2 or Teacher 1, Teacher 2. So our data were collected from participant responses to 5 questions in an online survey when they completed the virtual professional development. And they were, what ways do you guide teachers so they are aware of their EL students' needs? So we went over some of the things in the VPD with them about this. And then here we are focusing in on what they now would do. How did that transform them to do that? And then how do you support teachers so that they develop capacity in effective research-based instructional practices that support EL achievement? And in our MOOPLs, we go by a specific process in presenting the MOOPLs. It's called LEADER. It's a leading question, engagement, applied research, discussion, example, and then reflection. And we use the Brown and Irby reflection cycle for that particular reflection, so that the last step in the 5-step reflection cycle is transformed. So that's how they come out of the MOOPL to a transformed state where they actually think ahead and how are they going to transform their practice as a leader, as a teacher in the classroom. And then what specific success indicators will indicate progress toward meeting achievement goals for ELs? And what are some specific teacher actions that indicate they are incorporating effective instructional practices in their classrooms? And what do you want to stay mindful of as you advocate for EL educational excellence? So based on the survey questions, we disaggregated the data first and classified the data from campus leaders and teachers, and then we pawed the data and extracted and categorized participant responses. And to advance the trustworthiness of the study and to avoid bias, responses for each of the survey questions were analyzed separately, first by 2 members of the research team, and then we met together to review the analyses to come to consensus on the findings. So here are a few of our findings herein. So the 2 main themes were instructional leaders advancing teachers' awareness of English learner needs, and classroom teachers' instructional practices incorporated for English learners. So additionally, we noted the similarities and differences between the perceptions of leaders and teachers related to how English learners can be supported in their learning. So the purpose 1, or research question 1, was related to instructional leaders advancing teachers' awareness of English learners' needs. So we found a number of instructional practices leaders and teachers in the study utilize for advancing the awareness of teachers of English learners in regard to their academic needs. So their practices can be categorized in 3 areas. 1 was mentoring and coaching teachers, 2, providing professional development on awareness of English learner needs, and 3, analyzing student achievement data and actually using that. So some of the sample responses are as follows. So teacher 33 stated, I share my experiences with other teachers. We discuss lessons before and after they are taught. We offer suggestions. We share information that works best. Now remember, this is in relation to their work with English learners. So they're focusing their lessons, their experiences, and they're sharing those experiences and lessons and what works best for them. Leader 3 mentioned, I provide campus data as well as training opportunities for teachers and administrators. And so herein, they are using campus data and they are providing training opportunities on how to use those campus data to improve the instruction for English learners. So purpose 2, or research question 2, related to classroom teachers' instructional practices incorporated for ELs. So teachers and leaders in the study shared a number of instructional practices or actions that teachers incorporate in their classrooms to create a better learning environment for ELs. Some practices intended to assist students in applying English as well as their native language in the classroom. And then sample responses follow that's related to that. Teacher 43 reported, comprehensible input is the most important aspect of language acquisition. And remember, these are things that they were learning and were going over in the VPD. It allows for students to create a bridge between their native language and the new language you're trying to teach them. Because of this, I use visual scaffolding in all my lesson plans. Leaders focused on supporting the learning environment with elements that scaffold student learning. So this is a way that some of their responses were supportive of each other's. Leader 12 mentioned incorporating realia, pictures, use of intonation during instruction, allowing students to speak in the home language, and students working in small collaborative groups are each effective practices for English learners. So all of the things that they've mentioned here are English learning strategies that can be placed in the classroom, or English as second language strategies that can be placed there and can be very effective. And we have found that actually visual scaffolding as well as speaking in home language and speaking in and working in collaborative groups and using realia are all very effective for improving instruction and improving achievement. So, research question 3 was about similarities and differences between perceptions of teachers and leaders. So there were many similarities, as I've already mentioned some of those, between the perceptions of leaders and teachers related to practices that teachers incorporate in their classrooms. And leaders and teachers were both focused on creating an appropriate learning environment through employing a variety of resources and also teaching strategies. The main differences between the two groups were related to specific practices for advancing teachers' awareness of EL needs. So many of the leaders and teachers reported peer mentoring as a way of sharing their experiences or having teachers to share. But the leaders also noted that how they use professional development for teachers in their understanding of EL's needs, as well as how they assisted teachers in analyzing student achievement data to identify their needs or the students' needs. So as a result of their VPD, or the MOOPL VPD, and based on the follow-up survey, leaders and teacher leaders, which I'm going to note again, in this study, noted a number of practices that would be advantageous for instructional leaders to engage in as they work to improve teachers' awareness and understanding of English learners' needs. They indicated that instructional leaders should provide mentoring and or coaching opportunities for teachers, provide specific professional development on awareness of EL needs, analyze student achievement data, and aid teachers to better understand how to analyze and use data for improving instruction for English learners. We consider those to be data meetings. So that's another topic, but we have some information on that as well as on PLCs and virtual PLCs. They also, instructional leaders, our group indicated, should offer examples of practices of English as second language strategies for teachers who work with ELs, and perhaps to provide peer mentoring with teacher to teacher so as to share strategies and practices that are effective. And also, they mentioned, that was not in some of the responses in the questions, but I mean, that I posted here, but they also mentioned to take advantage of BPD, such as the MOOPLs that we have talked about. I hope that this was instructive and that it helps you to think about how you're training your instructional leaders for the field, and how we can do better to help the principals to be, and our leaders to be better advocates for and supporters for our English learners. Currently, we have what we call a bilingual principal cohort group, and we're moving into a full residency model. We've been doing summer residencies, but we are moving to the full residency beginning in the fall with Houston ISD. So they are definitely specifically focused on how to improve instruction for English learners, because the schools where they serve have large numbers of English learners, and also how they can effectively serve economically challenged students, because all the schools where they serve are high needs schools. So those are some things that we're doing and what we focus on. And we consider this also to be a social justice venture, and because we are in the process and in progress in terms of serving our English learner population here in Texas, and that's particularly important. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your time on the virtual meetings. Thank you.